All right, here's a comment, and I get a similar comment regularly. It's been something that's been around for quite a long time. And the comment basically says that people have been drinking alcohol for thousands of years, so why am I shitting all over it? You know, if people have been doing it for thousands of years, then what's so wrong with it, you know? All those people can't be wrong. Well, for 46 of my years of my life, over 30 years as a drinker of alcohol, I didn't have a problem with that at all, you know. But guess what? Times change. Times have changed for me, times change for society. And the main reason they changed for me was because of the consequences. The consequences of what I was doing with myself. I didn't understand any of this when I was starting out first, right? I was a stupid kid. You know, had my first drink when I was 12 years of age. Didn't start drinking properly until I was in my late teens, 17, 18. But still a stupid kid. Didn't know what I was doing, putting up with peer pressure. All of those kind of things were pushing me in that direction. And then you associate it with being a man and all the bullshit that's associated with that. So I was stupid. Once you start feeling the consequences of that, then you start to rethink either your own drinking or drinking in general, putting this stuff inside your body. And definitely once you start getting the knowledge then and understanding, then you have to make changes in your life, right? So let's unpack this a bit more from a few different angles. Just because something has been done or something has been consumed for a long, long time doesn't mean to say that it's inherently safe or that it's advisable to do it, right? Either on an individual level or on a societal level. You know, a few examples. Slavery, right, was practiced since time immemorial, and yet they stopped it. They don't do it now. Bloodletting, you know, that was a thing that they used to use to treat a whole variety of different illnesses, but it doesn't make it effective or doesn't make it safe by today's standards. So you'd never go into a doctor now and you go, do you know what, I'm going to perform a little bloodletting on you just to relieve this gout that you've got or this pain in your belly. You've got cirrhosis of the liver, bloodletting. Now, the reasons and contexts for drinking alcohol are most certainly different today, right? From a personal point of view, when I started drinking alcohol, like I said, I was a young idiot trying to impress my friends or trying not to get ostracized from the group that I was in, right? And throughout history, there's been the same thing. When you look at the context of why people were drinking alcohol in the past, there was a complete lack of drinking water, fresh, clean water. So alcohol was safer to drink than water because the fermentation process killed harmful bacteria. And that just doesn't apply today. You know, you don't have to drink alcohol in order to avoid contaminants. You can get clean water. You can get filters that are going to clean the water for you. Another perspective, from a health perspective, the medical knowledge today compared with thousands of years ago, you know, the negative effects of consuming alcohol are known now, even in small doses. That knowledge, that information is much more advanced these days. So we can see clearly what alcohol does to the human body, to the human brain. We're talking about liver damage, cancers, heart damage, brain damage, kidney damage, stomach damage. These risks, understood in detail today, weren't fully comprehended until modern medicine came about, right? And just look at it from a logical point of view. You know, the idea that something is okay because it's been done for a long time, it's just ridiculous. It's an example of appeal to tradition. And it's another logical fallacy. It's what people do all the time when they don't want to face up to their own problems, to the things that they're doing to themselves, the things that they're doing in life. They have these logical fallacies that they employ to hide behind things. You know, just because a practice has been done for however long, right? Doesn't matter. Doesn't give it the right to be called good or practical. It doesn't give it some exalted position where, you know, it doesn't have to be, You don't have to examine it no more. It can sneak past any modern examination. And we also use alcohol differently nowadays. It's much more embedded in society. The damage that it's causing is much greater. Think about the consequences of alcohol abuse. How much people drink these days. Drink driving, domestic violence, violence in general that was caused by alcohol. I don't know how many, 50% of all murders are caused when the perpetrator is drinking or is drunk. That's a significant issue. These are all significant issues today. And the costs of taking this drug are massive. Think about the medical costs, to the medical establishment, right? Think about the costs to law enforcement. Like I said, 50% of all murders, and I'm sure violent assaults, are all caused by people who have been drinking. And I think one of the biggest things today that wasn't there before is drunkenness is tolerated. Massive amounts of drinking are tolerated. It's accepted so much more these days. We used to live in smaller communities where drunkenness or being a drunk had its consequences. They just weren't acceptable. If you were living in a small village and you were the drunk of the village and you were kicking the shit out of your wife or something like that when you were drunk, or you were causing havoc, or you were just getting drunk, it's not acceptable. Nowadays it's commonplace. So if you're using this logic to justify alcohol, right, you've also got to use the same logic, exactly the same logic, for other substances, right? There were many substances that were totally acceptable in the past and that are now harmful or they've been banned. Think about lead in paint. There used to be radium. They used to put radium in cosmetics. What about asbestos in the insulation? Mercury as a diuretic. Think about tobacco, right? Look at the way tobacco is looked at now, viewed at now. Go back 50 years, 60 years, and you see the advertisements for doctors saying, your doctor recommends Camel. Once promoted by doctors for a load of different health benefits before that, right? So now we know it's a leading cause of cancer, heart disease, respiratory conditions. What about cocaine? Back in the day, cocaine was an ingredient in many medicines, including baby medications, for teeth tinctures and stuff like that, for babies. When they were teething, they'd rub this stuff on them that contained cocaine. It was in the original formulation for the original recipe for Coca-Cola, right? What about opium? Opium has been used for thousands of years. Look at the mess that's being caused in societies today because of this drug, because of opium or opiate. Look, the historical context can provide insight into the past, right? It can give us a bit of understanding into why we behave personally the way we do, why society behaves the way that it does, how society has changed over that years. But it can't be the sole basis for determining how appropriate or safe a substance is, how safe a practice is in today's world, right? So times change, from a personal point of view, and how much have we changed in society for good and bad, as the centuries go by. I think we're living in a time when things change so fast it's hard to keep up, but it's just a fact of modern life. There you go. If you want to support what we're doing here on YouTube, I'd appreciate if you consider supporting us on Patreon. The link is in the description below, and thank you to everyone who's already become a patron and is already supporting us. It's very much appreciated. Thank you very, very kindly. Take care of yourself, and I'll speak to you in the next one. Onwards and upwards. Bye now.